Welcome everyone to the School of Radiance podcast. I'm your host, a humble human on a mission here to help you both look and feel your best. The topic of today's episode is actually part two of a now two-part series on the latest anti-aging breakthroughs of 2025 with myself as your host, who's been in both the med spa world since 2011 as an aesthetics nurse, teaching and training in about 2017 other docs and nurses, and also becoming a speaker around that same time in the biohacking, longevity, and anti-aging space. And I have a really fun talk coming up next month. It's an event for, people like you who want to know, what can I do at home? What can I do in the clinic? What can I do to actually slow the signs of aging? It's called the Vivacity event in Vancouver. I'm going to be a speaker there. If you're in the area, if you want to come up and travel and come and see me and meet me, I'm going to be speaking at this event, and it's going to be on this very topic. I'm going to be covering GLPs, and I'm also going to be covering peptides and how to kind of bring it all home with the med spa stuff we can do in the clinic for medical grade skincare. Also, I offer that in virtual format and one-on-ones, which is all behind the scenes here. I'm excited to meet with you. This is a live recording. So we're going to get some questions. We're going to get some engagement. And I'm here to kind of break it down for you. This part two. Part one focused on GLPs. So Ozempic, semaglutide, and then also focused on muscle mass, because we now know that muscle is the organ of longevity, right? But there's some other nuances here that we're going to be getting into that I think are great for you all to kind of just have an awareness of. And I'm going to be sharing my angle. I'm going to be sharing my concerns. I'm also going to be sharing my predictions. And I have a pretty darn good track record of making predictions on where things are going to best support you. As one of the first to start to do virtual skin consultations in 2017, people didn't know why I was talking to somebody on Zoom about their skin and rejuvenation, because patients were flying to see me from across the globe. I'm in the Pacific Northwest. People were flying to see me from France, Germany, Dubai, New York, California, Toronto, all over. So I basically had to do virtual consults. And then, hey, guess what? The pandemic happened. Then everybody knew what Zoom was, and also e-commerce and teaching and trends, and having this overarching kind of guide of whenever you hear something that's new. And I'm just going to kind of mention this first before I get into part two of beauty and longevity trends of 2025. I like to have this. I mean, sometimes this can shoot me in the foot a little bit, but I think why this is good is it helps us save people time, money, and side effects. So whenever there's something new that's come out, I like to give it about 5 to 7 years. Because when something is rolled out on the general population, Botox was first invented essentially in the 90s and then approved, and then it was utilized on the general population. And even now in 2025, we're still finding ways to utilize it in on-label, off-label, more advanced ways. So that's just an example of like one compound that's been part of the foundation in a med spa for fine lines and wrinkles and softening and all that stuff. It just continues to get better. So I've always had sort of that 5 to 7 year rule, because it allows time for the product itself to get honed. And GLPs, we're already on the 4th generation of GLPs. And that's really cool. We're going to talk about that. And then things like the dosing, the application, micro dosing, and even with laser technologies. When Cool Sculpting first came out, not too long after that, they came out with the 2nd generation of the machine and technology to help it work better and be less painful, and also shorten up that time. So not only from like a product perspective, like a neuromodulator, not only from a laser perspective, like cryolipolysis for fat, but also from the GLP perspective, from helping to lose some of that fat. But there's been some issues with losing muscle along the way. So the 4th generations are meeting that. And then also with peptides. We've learned a lot about how things can actually have a synergistic effect. So keep the questions coming. We're going to get into some fun things here. Oh, I have some. Thanks, Sylvia, for your laughing face emoji. Maybe I said something that made you laugh. I like to make you laugh. The more you laugh, the better you learn. Okay. But look at all of this stuff from the perspective of do not go for that one bright, shiny, trendy thing. The reason why you're going to get better results when you lay the foundation first. Body, mind, spirit, energy, physical, non-physical, eating the right foods, dialing in your nervous system, getting that muscle mass up, making sure that you're getting your key nutrients, which we're going to talk about what key nutrients are from my perspective. Then you add things like, say, a GLP or a peptide. And not only do you have your foundation, but you also then have this optimization piece. And you're going to feel that optimization piece more when you're more dialed in and locked in with the foundations. Okay. Foundations are the most simple thing, but people get lazy. Like, I just want to do this. Well, just do this instead. Do the foundations. We're going to talk about that. Hopefully that also made you laugh too. A little tough love. Okay. Save your time, save your money, do the foundations first, then consider what some of the other pieces are, knowing that we are just in this incredible time of foundations are so important. Absolutely. Thanks, Giselle. But most people don't want to do it, right? They'll listen to a podcast. They'll hear about this new supplement. They'll hear about this new thing in the med spa space or the anti-aging longevity space, but they're not doing the foundations. So, I mean, ideally, when we do something, we want to get that like couple percentage enhancement. This is kind of what biohacking does. Like, you add air purifier, you add red light, you sleep with a temperature optimized room, you reduce your blue light, like all these things are going to add percentages. But if what I've found is when I have those things dialed in, which I talk about, till the cows come home on the show here, I got to stop repeating myself. Thanks for some of the podcast feedback, but that's why I drill this stuff home, right? You need to do these foundations that I talk about: purifying your air, water, lighting, electromagnetics, eating the right food, testing instead of guessing, then detox. Then do some of these really cool things, but only after it's been tried and true and established. Okay. And of course, this is not medical advice. This is educational information only. If you think you have a medical condition, you must seek the guidance of a licensed physician. Okay. So tough love over. Foundations, critical. Optimization, locking in, yes. And the reason I've given the example of bodybuilders as actually being the OG biohackers is because they're showing up on stage, showing off all their muscles, looking super dehydrated so they get all that definition. Bodybuilders are the OG biohackers, but what they used to do with the anabolics now and what's now available for metabolic optimization, like, we're going to be seeing so many more people now just with these incredible bodies who aren't fitness competitors, but they're getting that muscle mass up. They're more lean. They have less visceral fat. They're stronger. Their nervous systems are more regulated. So it's very exciting for me to see, the OG biohackers, which is the bodybuilders, and then for us, the lay people, doing the foundations. And oh my gosh, there are these things that is kind of like this next generation of what previous bodybuilders were doing to get up on stage, say like Olympia competitions, to look super shredded and defined and get that muscle mass up. Gone are the days of the anabolics. Now we're at the GLPs and the peptide space, but the foundations always exist first. Okay. Okay, so to wrap up part one with one of the biggest trends in 2025, it's the GLP-1s. We all know this. And it's the muscle mass component, the longevity organ. So today, we're going to be getting a little bit more into cellular foundations, supplements, and body composition. Who doesn't want to have just an incredible body? Who doesn't want to have a trim waistline, have that ab definition, have, those svelte looking arms that aren't flabby because you haven't figured out, oh, you got to build up your triceps. right? Having that hourglass shape requires shoulders, requires glutes, requires having a trimmer midsection, having strong legs, having that bone density. It looks good. I think gone are the days for ladies of looking. I'm going to use Nicole Kidman as an example. She's like very, very frail looking. And what actually exudes beauty is health. So having that muscle definition is actually very attractive. If you're a lady listening to this and you've heard guys say, oh, we love the body of the cardio bunny. Those are the guys that don't usually have a lot of muscle. But being a muscle mommy, it's definitely starting to get more popular. But basically having your foundations and having your cellular machinery and your metabolism working better, that's one of the things. Okay. So we're moving beyond surface level beauty, right? Clear skin, less pigmentation, the eyes looking brighter, less hooding to the upper lower eyelids, less dark eye circles, less sagging to the jawline. We're moving beyond that surface level beauty. Those things still exist, of course. But we're moving into this whole system radiance. Giselle, Tracy Anderson. Yeah, she's actually a colleague of mine. Tracy Anderson's great. There's lots of these beautiful. JJ Virgin is like the OG of fitness and nutrition as well. She's been on the show before too. She's great. She's definitely a mentor of mine and someone I've looked up to actually since 2017. But we're getting into this whole system radiance. It's locking in and it's dialing in and it's optimizing. Where metabolic wellness, body systems, and technology are emerging. Not only like laser technology, but also AI and testing instead of guessing. This precision supplement stuff that I was reading an article on the ferry coming from Vancouver back home to Victoria, and it was a Wired article, the Wired Journal. And there was an article on Brian Johnson, who's coming up with this like AI system. He's got his own supplement line. Him and Dave Asprey are like the biggest biohackers out there. And then there was this overview of the multi-billion-dollar industry of the health, wellness, and of course beauty industry is made up of, from supplements to skincare to IVs to peptides, everything. This is a massive industry. And for you being here, it's always my goal. This is why I sleep very well at night, to help people save time and money and stay on the straight and narrow and to not get distracted with these things that are just kind of like, they're fluff. They're not really going to help optimize. It's a trend. It's going to be gone before you know it. It's not going to stand the test of time. Okay. That's the stuff we want to invest in. And so seeing the metabolic wellness, body systems, and technology merging is pretty exciting. So technology, think like AI, think customized supplementation, think gut testing. And Viome, on my biohacking page, Viome is a company that does really affordable tests to look at your gut, to look at your blood, to look at your saliva, and help you dial in what you're eating. And then they also make precision supplements. So Wired was saying something to the effect of, oh, this is new and breakthrough in one of their other articles. I'm like, I've been using precision supplements for years. Viome's been way ahead of this. So using basically your data from your gut, your blood, your saliva tests to then pull from these different vats of different micronutrients, pre-probiotics into a supplement with your name on it. I actually have that on my kitchen island. So that's Rachel Varga in this little packet. It's made just for me. So this is where we're at now. That stuff is not new. So the foundation is cellular metabolism and body composition. Okay. So the cellular metabolite framework is essentially your mitochondria, your ATP efficiency, and metabolic flexibility. Metabolic flexibility is essentially, I did a week-long fast in the desert at altitude once. Just felt like it. Just felt like it. My body was like, do a week-long fast in the desert at altitude, Arizona, southern Utah. Okay, I did it. I listened to what my body needed, and I got through that. I mean, I was still having electrolytes. I was still having some protein, but I was definitely under about 300 calories a day. So I was in that autophagy state. And I did an interview with Ben Azadi, who, actually I have his book right here. Oh, look at that. Shout out to my buddy Ben. Ben Azadi, Metabolic Freedom. Ben Azadi is so great at talking about the metabolism and talking about fasting. And then the foreword is written by Dr. Mindy Pelz. Both these, Ben Azadi and Dr. Mindy Pelz, have been on the show. And Mindy Pelz is an expert in the space of fasting. And it was actually Ben Azadi that said to me, so again, mirroring things I'm doing right that get mirrored back, like, oh yeah, this is what you did. This is why it worked out for you. He said, you have metabolic flexibility. Have metabolic flexibility. This allows you to be more resilient. This allows you to adapt to things that change in your life, like perimenopause, menopause, postmenopause, and just life stuff in general. So having that flexibility means resilience, and being ready, being resilient are key components to being radiant. Okay. And I did a previous episode with the chief medical officer from Qualia recently on the show. We spoke about mitochondrial function. We spoke about ATP efficiency at length. I'm not going to get into this here, but your cellular metabolite framework is very key to start to dial in, lock in, and support, because we lose NAD as we age. Okay. Body composition is the new biomarker. How you look, not just your skin, not just your hair, not just your cute outfit, but how you look. What's your body shape? Do you have a little extra over your midsection? Or do you have really good muscle definition? You look strong. And even the way that you move is more fluid. It's more dialed in because your nervous system, your metabolism, your body composition is all acting in harmony because you've established the foundations, and you're going to be able to lift heavier. Lifting heavy, ladies, forget those pink dumbbells. Take notes from the bodybuilders, okay? But also always train in a smart way. So body composition is the new biomarker, having more muscle mass. So muscle versus fat, okay, as a predictor of lifespan and longevity. It's actually very difficult for women to put on a lot of muscle. Like, I lift heavy 4 to 6 times a week. I hit my protein targets, and this is about as big as my arms are. Okay? I look pretty feminine. I have a very feminine frame, but I'm still strong and I'm still powerful. And I've actually had to learn. I've had to do a lot of this stuff, and especially the nervous system mastery, to overcome injuries from 2 really rough car crashes that just trashed my nervous system. Simply put, looking back on that. So if you have injuries, if you have stuff, always get the guidance for like a rehab program. But really, the biggest flex right now of beauty and vitality is having a great having a great body composition. So that fat versus muscle, more muscle is a predictor that, you know, you're going to be less likely to be in your 70s and 80s and fall and break your hip, because your bones are stronger because you've been lifting heavier, okay? And then signs of harmony versus dysfunction. Let's get into this. In your systems, energy. How much energy do you have? Do you feel like you just want to stay in bed all day? Well, there's something to be said for recovery and rest as well. You can't build muscle and have the opportunity to regenerate from a cellular position if you're not resting enough. So sometimes I'll take a couple rest days in a row, and then I go back to the gym. It's like PR. Also depends on where you are in your cycle too. But that energy marker is something that you can feel that, you know, you doing the foundations is working. So the skin vibrance is also super key as well. I have found this very interesting, having been a med spa provider. My title is double board certified aesthetic nurse specialist since 2011, working in the specialty of oculoplastics, eyelid surgery, right? Doing all the skin stuff, skincare, lasers, injectables. I do all, you know, the non-surgical things. And I noticed that once I started to focus on my cellular wellness, once I started to focus on my metabolic wellness, once I started to lift heavy, that I actually felt like the way that I looked, I needed less in clinic rejuvenation. Peptides have a place. We're going to talk a little bit about that for sure. But the skin vibrance when you're doing these things, you should be able to see it. Your eyes should look a little bit brighter. And I have done some photography studies for a number of different products over the years, including the Glycidin Dermal Anti-Aging Formula, the Oxford Health Span spermidine product, which they call Premedine, and also the Bioptimizers Collagen Breakthrough. And if a product is containing lots of really great things and it's supporting your metabolism, your cellular function, reducing inflammation through antioxidants, right? Reducing inflammation, oxidative stress, inflammaging, your eyes should actually look brighter. You should start to see less skin redness, less darkness, puffiness around the eyes, and you should just start to look brighter. And obviously there's some in-clinic stuff that does that too, like with lasers, with injectables, all sorts of cool stuff. But you should notice the harmony versus dysfunction with your skin vibrancy. So say, for example, you're going through a tough time, going through a breakup, you're going through divorce, you're going through a death in the family, you're going through a health crisis, you're going to see it on your face. Okay. So if you're going through that, I want you to just give yourself a little bit of grace to maybe be a bit more in that rest and recovery state, while also continue to fuel your body with good things like supplements we're going to talk about, and continue to care for yourself, work out, exercise, do the things that bring you joy, that light you up. Don't go to escapism. Don't go to bad foods, like think high sugar, high carbohydrates. Stay on point with your foundations. That's going to allow you to be more resilient during those tough times, because stress is a sign of being alive. Okay, Rachel, sound is very low. Let me just check my mic here. This is a live podcast recording. Let me know if the sound is okay as well for some of you. Just checking the questions here as I'm going through this. Great insights, Sylvia. Sylvia has been a one-on-one client of mine for a number of years here. Love it. Love it, love it, love it. Love you so much. Foundations for optimum health with best outcome longevity, peptides for vibrant skin, skin texture and even color, wrinkles, great muscle mass and form, fat transfer where fat loss is changing, facial and body form, and exercise fat in other places. Yeah, so I think what you're trying to do here, Sylvia, is kind of like in your own mind, you're conceptualizing what bringing this all home looks like. And this is the biggest challenge. And this is actually the presentation I'm giving at Vivacity. I got to condense this stuff down to about 20 minutes. So your questions here are going to be really helpful for me to basically practice. But yeah, good thought process, Sylvia. Typing it out, conceptualizing it. That's actually how I like to integrate information too, is actually when I'm making a presentation, like that good old PowerPoint format, or writing a paper. Quick little update. I'm writing another paper with Dr. Jeffrey Gross. He's a neurosurgeon, and we're going to be doing a paper on nervous system and skin aging. Super exciting paper. I haven't really heard of anybody else tying the nervous system into how we look and how it presents itself physically on the skin. So that's going to be a really fun paper, right? Giselle and previous gymnasts. So like Tracy Anderson, my arms get too big with heavy weights. It's pretty hard for arms to get too big. I mean, sure, you're going to have that pump when you've just finished your set and maybe that evening, but then, you know, the days after, they'll look great. It's very uncommon, like depending on what your genetic predisposition is. And if you've been a gymnast, you've been training your whole life, that's kind of the form of a gymnast. It's very fit, it's very sculpted. And just like what you can do as a gymnast is like you're mastering, making sure your muscles are firing, your nervous system is on point for the balance. And to do these really complex movements, I just think that's beautiful that you have that foundation in your exercise. And I've been very athletic my whole life, doing like literally every sport growing up as well. So I have that foundation too. So get your kids in sports. It's good for them, builds confidence. Sylvia, skin tone so arms aren't flabby. Absolutely, right? Getting that muscle to support the skin, super important. Elizabeth, I see that Hume scale. Do you recommend? So there's different scales that are actually, this is a great question. So when we're looking at the composition, the body composition as a biomarker, muscle versus fat as a predictor for lifespan, sorry, there's lots of scanning pieces of technologies like these scales that we can go on that can actually give you a readout and analyze your water, your muscle, your bone, your fat, and even the distribution of those things on your right side versus on your left side. I think when I did a test a couple years ago, it's like my right quad was bigger or something like that. Or, I had a little extra fat around my liver, right? That visceral fat is not good. We don't want visceral fat. So some of those scales, for an at-home scale, actually, since you brought it up, Elizabeth, I'm going to reach out to some of the companies that make them and start to do some research myself and actually get to know the CEOs and founders behind some of these companies. I'm very conscious whose products I recommend here on the show. I want to know the people behind the company. I want to know the testing that they do, and I want to know the quality. So that's what podcasting actually allows me to do. So stay tuned for a scale that you can use at home to look at your body composition. I think that's great. Thanks so much for bringing that up. Sylvia, my DNA says lift heavy weight to failure, then rest day or two. So what Sylvia is getting at, her DNA, so she would have done a genetic test. This is not 23andMe. Okay. This is not Ancestry 20, whatever, Ancestry, whatever those are called. I never did any of those. There are some tests, genetic tests that are $200 that you can find on my biohacking page, the DNA company. My Toolbox Genomics are two that are on my biohacking page that can actually look at your genes and be like, hey, what kind of lifestyle would actually support your gene expression? This is the study of epigenetics. So yes, we have our genes, we have our genetic blueprint, but how we choose to live and different aspects of the foundation we support in a certain way can lead to more optimization and being more dialed in to then support the expression of your genes, which is the study of epigenetics, which is very cool. Okay. Okay, I'm not hearing anybody else say the sound is low. It's just Sylvia. Oh. Should be good. I'm actually recording this on the back end on 2 different platforms, Zoom and also Riverside. Okay, yes, all those things are in my life right now. Yeah, the life stuff, the health stuff, the family stuff, the passing away, perimenopause, menopause. It's in all of our lives. Nobody has a perfect life. Nobody has a perfect life. Stress is a sign of being alive. It's what keeps you on your toes, right? It's what keeps you kind of staying dialed in and locking in and staying present. It's what makes us human. You think I have a perfect life? But I don't have a perfect life. I got stuff going on too, right? But I have good boundaries to not let my energy leak into areas that are going to be chaos. This is one of the key aspects of being a beautiful, high vibrating woman. Peace, calm, full body system mastery. I teach that in the membership. It's kind of life-changing stuff. Okay, you're talking about recovery now, exercise, infrared sauna. Yeah, for weightlifting, for putting on muscle mass, what we're hearing more of is actually more sauna use than cold plunge, and cold plunge being a little bit better for more endurance athletes. But we still need to tone that vagus nerve, so that's what cold exposure does. And also that's what humming does. Humming helps to tone your vagus nerve. That's something I've had to work on as well. I was getting my my head rocked from some car crashes. That was not fun. Yes, Giselle, nervous system regulation is so important. So that vagus toning, that humming is super key. Gut and nervous system is huge for energy and good health. It sure is. Okay, there we go. So there's some more insight. Giselle mentioned she's worried about getting bulky. She's also 4'10", so muscles show up bigger than on a taller woman. Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty tall. I'm about 5'8". Like, I did runway not too long ago. Put me up in the big girl shoes too. Gosh, I have a hard time wearing heels now. It's kind of funny. But yeah, the taller you are, the more lean you're going to look too. So just kind of balancing like the aesthetic with what you like while also feeling strong and continuing to see that progression of getting stronger, which is what a PR, personal record, is. Sylvia, that's awesome. Haven't done that yet. Yes, is that the test you did? Yeah, I've done the DNA company. I've done my toolbox genomics. I've done Biome. I've also done Inside Tracker. And the reason I do multiple tests is then to compare the data. Because maybe the company wants to give you like a really good reading so that I'll talk about it on the show. And then they'll be like, oh my gosh, your biological age is this. So what I like to do is actually take multiple tests to see what's lined up. Okay, because that's something I do take into account when a company sends me a test, they want me to talk about it. Are they just trying to pump me up a little bit? The things I have to consider so I can show up here for you all. Okay. Okay, great question here, Elizabeth. I see these people doing plasma exchanges, basically changing your blood like it's an oil change. This has become really popular actually over the last couple of years with some high-level clinics where they basically take your blood out through essentially dialysis and clean it and then put it back in. And they got all sorts of different things come up that from the samples of like the clots and residues that get sent to the lab for pathology to see actually what was starting to build up in that individual. So yes, we are starting to see like this human oil change through filtering the blood. Very interesting stuff. And then there's of course exosomes, stem cells, and all those things. Some stress is good for us. Sylvia, builds character. Yeah, it does. I actually really like how I handle stressful situations. Something tries to rock me, I just stay cool, calm, and collected. I split my shin open once. I was doing a step-up drill on a concrete curb, and I slipped. And I was like, oh, I tripped. I scraped my entire shin on this concrete curb. I could see my bone. The thoughts that went through my head was, I wonder if I can stitch this up myself. I wonder if I can clean this. No, I got to go to the emergency room. But I was just very cool, calm, and collected. And that's actually what I want you to do. Instead of something happens and then you turn into this frantic, sympathetic state mess, right? Somebody needs to calm you down. No, be a leader, be a queen or a king, because 25% of listeners are dudes, gents. Be cool, calm, and collected. Master your nervous system, right? So that response I had when I literally saw my bone was not a, oh my gosh, I'm going to freak out and get hysterical and cry. It's like, no, okay, what do I need to do? What's next step? Like, stay cool, calm, and collected. So for me, I have this a little bit more of an output of yes, adrenaline, but a little bit more noradrenaline, eyes on the prize. Like, let's find the target and deal with it, as opposed to that very frantic adrenaline cortisol. But yes, there's obviously some of that goes with it. But that's what cold plunging actually helps to do, is it helps to train you from this, oh my gosh, I'm going to die, right? From just being in a cold tub. No, you're not going to die. I mean, you could get hypothermia, so don't stay in too long. But it does train that response so that even in a tough situation like cold or like lifting heavy, or when life stuff happens, as it does to all of us, how do you respond, right? And the more dialed in all these pieces are, the longevity insights of 2025, you're just going to be more like chilled out and more peaceful. And that's more beautiful, right? As opposed to like, oh my gosh, I'm going to freak out over everything and make this funny face and raise my eyebrows up, bring my brows together, and hold this tension in my face. Like, no, just chill out. Consider the different options. And then don't just kind of hum and haw about things. Like, take action, right? Some stress is good for us. Yeah, absolutely. Vagus nerve stimulation, humming. People might look at you weird if you do it. So maybe do it in your own home, in your privacy. But actually, I think it's kirtan chanting. I went to an event once on Salt Spring Island with some girlfriends, and it was just beautiful. Kirtan chanting. Like, I don't know what I'm saying or the language, but all I know is these voice notes that I was doing at different frequencies felt so good. It felt so good. I'll never forget that moment. It actually brought some tears to my eyes. It was so beautiful. Giselle, I'm a nerd as well. Heck yeah, I'm a nerd. I'm way more of a nerd than you guys even know. Still be a good strategy to compare tests. Yep. Yeah, that slicing my shin open did hurt. Well, I took my stitches out myself, but I am also a nurse. Don't do that. Yeah, Sylvia, good point here. Seems like you can heal better when you don't shoot your cortisol through the roof tube. Yes, I just did a podcast with Dr. N.L. Shaw, plastic surgeon out of Chicago and New York, and we were talking about the ways to support post rejuvenation. So like post facelift, post rhinoplasty, post laser, injectable, things like that. That's a great episode. Be sure to check that out. And my paper on oxidative stress status and its impacts on skin aging that I wrote, what was that, about 2 years ago? It was basically, again, like I like to work with frameworks. I like to work with algorithms, not only for us at home, but also fellow practitioners to enhance patient-centered care. That's part of one of the things I need to do. To have that CANS designation that I have, that extra board certification that I have, certified aesthetic nurse specialist. So basically I wrote that paper for us to be like, okay, my eyes are a little red, they're a little puffy. Maybe I'm having an enhanced response to like stress. Maybe I ate something with high histamines. Maybe I'm having a histamine response from allergies, right? There's different things that happen each season to us in the skin, which is why I do my seasonal skin tutorials. Summer one just wrapped up. Fall one is going to be starting soon. Definitely join the fun tutorials to learn how to use your products. And then again, laying the foundations of your basic skincare routine, being as healthy and happy as possible. So being well fed, having your blood sugar stable before, say, doing an in-clinic injectable or laser. Or if you're going through something like a bacterial or viral infection, maybe don't do your rejuvenation at that point. And also to consider, if you have an autoimmune disease, you're not going to be a good candidate for everything in the rejuvenation space too. So the paper I wrote was kind of like a safety piece. And even the editor of the journal was like, wow, we should have made that a safety credit piece, because it is about basically the skin and the eyes being able to tell us a lot about, and also mental clarity. Like if you're foggy, your body's toxic bucket's full, you're not thinking properly, don't make decisions in that state, that's for sure. But you're going to get the best outcomes again when you have those foundations and then add things to get that optimization, that recovery, just as Sylvia said, with keeping that cortisol down, also inflammation down. Doing your foundations first, you're going to get, I think, better results and hopefully reduce some things that didn't need to happen. Okay, perfect. Okay, next up, this feedback loop. So recovery, yes, that's part of the signs of harmony versus dysfunction. Energy, skin vibrance, and recovery. You should be recovering faster between workouts. You should be recovering faster after rejuvenation, whether that's a peel, whether that's injectables, whether that's lasers, whether that's surgery. But with your muscles, when you start to train, we get this DOMS, right? Delayed onset muscle syndrome. So like soreness, right? Like after leg day, you can't walk for 2 days. That might happen when you're first starting to train. But then over time, it's like, oh, I did leg day yesterday. Huh, okay. I'm going to do leg day again. It's kind of the joke that ladies' lower bodies are like superwoman strong. And then the guys' upper bodies, like chest and triceps and biceps and shoulders and back, are like way stronger. So ladies do leg day every day. It's kind of a joke. It's kind of like a funny thing in gym rat world. But what I'm getting at is making you laugh too. But what I'm getting at is the recovery side of things. You should be recovering relatively quickly as a sign of harmony. And if your recovery is kind of like sluggish, there's some dysfunction and probably some areas to support. And support that recovery, like with, say, for example, saunas and electrolytes, and creatine and protein, all that good stuff. Good sleep. Okay. So feedback loop, here we go. Cellular health, radiance. Who doesn't want to look great? Be magnetic, have this beautiful, peaceful, radiant aura to you. Longevity, confidence. We all want to be confident, right? We all desire to be confident. Better lifestyle choices because your systems are operating better, so you can actually think better. And then again, back to cellular health and metabolic health, especially during these stressful times in our lives, hormonal shifts. Women go through more shifts in their lives than men do. Men are a little bit more like kind of steady, and women are like, perimenopause, menopause, postmenopause, like different things, right? So I would say for women, we actually need to be even more locked in and dialed in and have this awareness on resilience and adaptability. I'd say even more than men do. Like, yes, men overcome challenges and obstacles. Um, that's a little bit more so from like the mental capacity. And for women, it's very much the hormonal, it's very much the decline of different things. Sylvia says kirtan chanting is awesome, opens your heart and brings inner peace. I think it's lovely. So, I love to look at what are some of the simple foundations and what's also some of this very like simple knowledge and wisdom. I mean, not simple, but it's just ancient. It's been around a while. TCM, Ayurveda, love looking at those things, but also now with technology, with biometric data. Okay, so supplements 2025 update. Here's my update for you. Collagen is still king. Okay, we need collagen. I wrote a paper. We want to have about 10 to 12 grams of collagen a day. Guess what? The Organifi collagen has 10 grams per scoop. How convenient. I've worked with other collagens over the years that only have about 2.5 grams of collagen per serving. Right, to get your collagen input that you need, 10 to 12 grams for the visible skin changes, you want to have 10 to 12 grams. So if you're using a product that, in that scoop and serving size is only 2.5 grams, you're not going to be able to see those visible changes. And the collagen goes throughout your body. It goes through your joints and soft tissue. It's not just magically going to place itself in like a fine line. Okay, let's be real here, everybody. But collagen, yes, huge fan, and love the Organifi one. It's an unflavored one, so you can just like put it in your coffee. I like to put a scoop of protein powder, a scoop of collagen in my coffee. And so there's different forms of collagen as well. What's cool about the Organifi one is it's actually a multi-collagen blend of hydrolyzed bovine collagen peptides, chicken bone broth protein concentrate, eggshell membrane collagen, hydrolyzed fish collagen peptides. So it is a blend of lots of different collagens. So like the update that they made, good job Organifi. So it's this like synergistic blend of collagen. So that's kind of been an update. It's not just like one form of collagen. It's like, actually, let's like get a little like garden variety of collagen, if you will. Creatine. This has been an absolute game changer for me personally. There's studies on creatine and cognitive benefits, so brain function. But this is now recognized creatine beyond just fitness, brain health, cellular energy, muscle preservation in aging. I've kind of played around. I'm a biohacker, right? For our own test subjects. But I always want to look at the data, okay? That's very important that I do so. And the brain health, cellular energy, muscle preservation and aging, and also having more energy and just more kind of ATP running through my body, more energy from a cellular perspective. Creatine's been great. 3 to 5 grams a day. That's all you need. You don't need to do this like intense loading phase of 10 to 20 grams a day. But I did play around with once of 20 grams of creatine after a bad sleep just to see how it went. And then I actually just maintained it. And then what I did notice with that, creatine will pull a lot of water into your muscles. And I kid you not, I felt like I looked sideways in the mirror and my stomach was like out to here. I felt like I looked 6 months pregnant. So I'm like, okay, maybe I don't need to train abs every single day with weights, right? When you're doing compound exercises, yeah, I know, I was laughing at myself too. I was also a little bit mortified, but I was actually training abs too much as well. So I was doing too much weighted exercise with abs, and now I do a lot of compound movements with sleds, with RDLs, with goblet squats, like really good compound movements that really require your upper body and lower body, your posterior chain to be working together to do a movement while in this beautiful radiant feminine flow, right? So creatine was really good from a performance perspective for me. but my midsection did get pretty big on it. But I was also kind of seeing what amounts were good for me. But yeah, 3 to 5 grams a day. Guess who makes the creatine? Organifi. Love their creatine chews. It's this like beautiful flavor of cherry with vital cherry extract. So again, creatine is a company I love. They do third-party independent lab testing. Really great company. And for 2 gummies, you're getting 3 grams of creatine, and you're also getting their Vita Cherry Sport. So I actually will take 2 gummies before going to the gym. Getting my creatine like right before going to the gym. I don't like to take my creatine right before bed. I have played with that, and I just found like, I think it was just kind of my cells and ATP production were just really fired up. And so I take it as like a pre-workout kind of thing. So huge win for creatine. Now recognized beyond fitness. It's now recognized in the aspects of brain health, cellular energy, muscle preservation, and aging. Okay, greens and polyphenols. The gut, skin, brain axis. Okay. Peptides, BPC 157 also looks at addressing the gut. But what's cool with greens and polyphenols, that gut, skin, brain axis, it's like our stomach is like our second brain, right? We need our gut to work better, right? Keep that parasite level down. Ian Clark actually said when your body is functioning optimally, your foundations are laid, parasites aren't actually going to want to hang out with you. I don't know about that. I think that there's still a time and a place for doing some good detoxing, but Ian Clark, he's a bit of an OG in the wellness space. So that's what he said. It's like when your terrain, your terroir, I'm smelling, when the terroir of your body is dialed in, you're not going to be as good of a host to these, individuals. This can also overlap with your social dynamics and your social circle. It's got to be an interdependent relationship. It's got to be a symbiotic relationship, not a parasitic relationship. Okay. So I think there could be like some cool, like kind of like esoteric woo component to that as well. But guts, I don't know why I talk about that stuff sometimes here. Gut, skin, brain axis, alkalinity, microbiome nourishment. So what's a good way to get the greens? I'll be totally transparent with you. I do not eat a lot of vegetables, but I do eat a lot of fresh herbs from the garden. They're very like robust plants with a lot of life force. So guess what? Organifi, again, they're just a great company. They make this really great greens formula, okay? You got to get your greens in. But what's cool about this is that you're also getting your adaptogens in. Adaptogens support these things that sit on top of your kidneys. They're called your adrenals. When you get stressed out, we all have lives. We all have stuff. When you get me doing this live, it's actually a little bit of a tax on my adrenals as well. So I can take my adaptogens afterwards. Adaptogens are great because they support your adrenals. And when you're super stressed out, what happens is your mineral stores go down. So you want to make sure that you're getting those cofactors, magnesium, iron, zinc, copper, things like that. We need these cofactors in our bodies. And also adaptogens. So adaptogens are otherwise known as, say, like mushroom extracts, not the psychedelic kind, but the adaptogenic kind to support the adrenals. So I love the greens, the green juice from Organifi. This is how I like to get my greens as well. So adaptogens 2.0 essentially is where we're at now. So personalized stress resilience, ashwagandha, rhodiola, reishi, but also new research on mitochondria adaptogens like spermidine and shilajit. Organifi also has a shilajit product. And I also reference the Oxford Health Span spermidine product, which is one I also take for autophagy and cellular renewal. So anyways, to get the Organifi products, super easy. I like Organifi. They like me too. They like supporting the podcast. Head on over to Organifi, spelled with an I.com/Varga, and use promo code Varga and save. You can also find that link in the description of today's episode. And also Organifi is front and center on my biohacking page because I love them so much. Drew Canoli, the CEO and founder, we have a really fun friendship. And he's just like a super rad dad. He's got a beautiful daughter, beautiful wife. He's living, right? he's living. And so I like the company. I like the products that they make. So that's Organifi.com/Varga. I use promo code Varga Shilajit. There's Shilajit, the Organifi Shilajit. I will also take that to get those minerals and cofactors in. It's kind of like this black tarry gummy. I like the taste of it. But I also played around with it as a pre-workout, and I found that I actually had more energy when I had Shilajit. Okay, live podcast recording. Just realized my computer wasn't plugged in. That could be the sound. Let's plug that in. I'm human, everybody, just like you. So yeah, I'm glad that you mentioned Shilajit because I was going to mention Shilajit anyways, because we need these minerals and cofactors as our foundation. Minerals, cofactors, collagen, adaptogen, creatine, greens, polyphenols, as well as your protein intake, as well as your water intake. But I am still sipping on my coffee. I do keep caffeine to no more than, say, 1 French press a day, by the way. French press. I barely had 1 cup of coffee. The reason I can show up like this and be super dialed in, having only had 1 cup of coffee, you're probably listening and be like, oh my gosh, how many cups of coffee is that Rachel girl had? I've only had 1. I usually max out with about 2 cups of coffee a day. When we're talking about working out and performance and getting dialed in your nervous system and things like that, I remember once before my workout, I went to Starbucks. You know that joke? The big lips enter the line, the Starbucks line, before the lady does. Good place to observe people. Anyway, I had a venti iced Americano. That's 4 shots of espresso. Okay, so here I am doing my emails, doing my thing, doing some accounting stuff or me doing some teaching, and had about half of it at the coffee shop. And then, okay, I'm done my work. I'm going to go lift some weights. And then I had the rest of that Americano. And I kid you not, I was at the gym exercising. I was vibrating. I had already had my French press at home, got a coffee because I was working at a coffee shop. I'm not just going to sit down and I'll order or something. So that's uncouth. But it was way too much. So the caffeine thing that's become really popular of all these kids, I don't know, what are the generations now? What am I, Gen X? I don't know, but this Gen Z stuff, is it Gen Z? I don't know, but there's this really hilarious slang that's happening. Any of you have kids and you're like, what did they just say? I see this on social media sometimes. I don't understand that. I don't understand what they're saying. But anyways, the big trend with the youngsters, because I'm not a youngster anymore, midlife now, gosh, Google, funny thing, one of my patients the other day in the clinic, she's like, oh yeah, I Googled you, because I did her consult and then she came in for treatment. She's like, I Googled you and Google says you're 47. I'm not 47, I'm 38. So I was like, all right, check this out. So I go on the interweb and put in my name, Rachel Varga. How old is Rachel Varga? And then Google AI, I use DuckDuckGo, but Google AI says I'm 47. So this is an example, guys, of things that you see online, things that maybe AI is telling you, things that you're searching on things or people, and it's not true, right? The Google AI saying I'm 47 actually picked up 47 from me when I spoke at a biohacking and beauty event in Hollywood last year with a gentleman. I was doing an interview and we were talking about skin and rejuvenation and biohacking and all that fun stuff. It's my purpose. I love my purpose. And he said he was 47, but Google AI took that snippet of an interview and now is telling the world I'm 47. So I am not 47, in case you're wondering, but I'm almost considered not telling anybody that. It might be good for business. Anyways, just a funny thing. So it's you can't take face value of what you're seeing online these days. You really want to do your due diligence, use your discernment. So what's the one supplement that will move the needle for your current phase of health and vitality, beauty and radiance? What's that one supplement? It doesn't exist. It doesn't exist. It's a couple of really key things that I've talked about here, right? So when it comes to trends and you start to hear about this brand new thing, creatine has got a lot of exposure over this year, but it's also been an OG supplement in the performance and muscle building space for a long time. So I like that because it's something that's been on the market, utilized readily for performance and muscle recovery and muscle gains and mass. And now it's getting this recognition in the cognitive space. So this is an example of something that's been around a while. We start to research and study it more. And now we know that it's not just for the body composition side of things. There's also the cognitive benefits of it too. So just wanted to answer that. It's kind of the same with the rejuvenation space. Like, what's the best skincare product? What's the best rejuvenation treatment? It doesn't exist. It's always going to be multifactorial. It's always going to be getting your foundations dialed in. This is a really fun podcast for me to record. I'm kind of being a little bit silly here. Let me know if you like it. Am I making you laugh too much? Let me know. All right, so now we're going to talk about rejuvenation and technology. What's happened in the rejuvenation and the technology space this year? The new laser technology announcement. Yes, there is one coming. So as you know, I teach and present. Different companies like say, hey, we want you to teach and present at this different thing. And so I got really well connected. And actually, Robbie from Saiton, reached out to him. We haven't met in person yet. He's like one of the big shot CEOs with Saiton. So this is a laser rejuvenation technology. I've gotten my hands on pretty much most lasers in the med spa space over the years. And there's an exciting announcement actually coming next week. So I'm pretty sure he's going to be sharing what that announcement is on the show. It's probably, I kid you not, the first podcast that this company is going to be talking about this announcement on. And it's going to be right here. And you're part of it. The School of Radiance community. Pretty sweet. So me being connected means you're connected by proxy. So this is what my prediction here is that this isn't going to be like this new brand new thing. It's going to be an evolution of a previous type of technology. I don't know what it is yet, but my prediction is that it's not going to be something brand new, although it could. I might get surprised. I gave them a couple ideas actually when they were initially hiring me with their R&D division. That'll be hilarious. But I think it's going to be an evolution. It just like the cryolipolysis, I mentioned cool sculpting. There's the first generation, then there's the second generation of it, right? The technology gets tweaked. The actual like construction of the laser itself gets tweaked. And there's been some cool things with like nanometer filters to target more reds and browns, to allow treatments to go faster, to be more precise, to be able to go over curved areas with more accuracy. There's been some huge advancements just in this last year in the skin and rejuvenation laser technology space. Okay. So from collagen stimulating to regenerative, now syncing with cellular pathways. We did see a number of years ago a study with Dr. Bitters on broadband light, looking at light frequency wavelengths as actually telling that skin cell, right? Talked about DNA and epigenetics. It's like a masterclass on those two words. Study of epigenetics, the expression of your genes, okay? Certain light wavelengths make your skin cells behave younger because of the epigenetic switches that get turned on and off as we age. This light wavelength turn those switches back on. Very cool. So I'm super curious about what this next evolution is going to be. Okay. Sylvia, not too funny humor. This is an awesome podcast. Oh, thank you. I'm glad you're here live. So I get to like ask you, like, do you like this? Am I too funny? Should I be less funny? Should I be more serious? Being connected. Yep, you're connected by proxy. Just saw what looked like cool new laser for spider veins. Yeah, there's great tech out there for spider veins on the face. We call this telangiectasia. On the body, seek out a vascular surgeon. Okay, huge fan of leg veins. See a vascular surgeon. Maybe look at some ultrasound or some injectables for that. They're the experts at that. Okay, now we're looking at more of again, that example of what this research study looked at, actually what's happening to the skin, what's happening to the DNA epigenetic expression. Is there any change? Is it behaving younger? Yes, it was behaving younger. But now I think we're tying into this theme of harmony across all systems. The foundation approach. This is what I've been preaching from the mountaintops for a long time. And someone on the podcast review said, you're repeating yourself. I'm repeating myself because so many of you just aren't doing the work. And you're like, oh my gosh, I'm going to go on Amazon and I'm going to order this. Do not get your supplements or your beauty products or your makeup, anything you put on or in your body from Amazon or eBay or these third-party auction websites because of the issue with counterfeit products. If you have a subscription to a supplement that you're taking on these third-party auction websites, reconsider. Is that actually linked, that site you're ordering that from, on repeat to the manufacturer itself? I mean, you could even send the company an email and be like, hey, is this actually your website's fulfillment Amazon page? Just to confirm that. Like, you need to be really discerning where you're getting your stuff from. There's actually this reel on Instagram of, the icy blue or icy hot, whatever it is, like post muscle. Maybe your massage therapist, your physio will put this on like sore muscles or joints or something. And one person like got it from a store, like a storefront, like brick and mortar, walked in, got it. And then the other person got it from a third-party website, got delivered to the home. They opened it up. The packaging was identical. The formulation, the cream itself, one was like a gel, one was a cream. It was a counterfeit product. Counterfeit products are huge. And if you think I'm just being a tinfoil hatter, then go on Netflix. There's a show called Broken, a whole series on this, okay? I started to talk about this stuff a long time ago to warn you all to not get products from these third-party auction websites. You're taking a gamble with what you're getting. It's like getting a fake designer handbag. I mean, it might look similar, but it's not going to hold up. That stitching is going to come out. It's going to fade. It won't quite work. Okay. Sylvia, love your questions here. I always love it when you're here on these live podcast recordings. And keep the questions coming, everyone. Questions, comments. Am I being too funny? There's so much cool new advancements in health and beauty happening at what seems like light speed. Do you know what it's like for me to have to keep up with all these things? Like, I learn about something, it's like, I want to write a research paper on that. I got to do a new talk on that. I got to do a podcast on this. Like on that ferry, when I was reading that Wired magazine, I was like, oh my gosh, there's 4 podcasts here. But out of efficiency, I'm doing a part 1 and a part 2 for you. So you don't have to go to like 4 different podcasts. It's just on 2. Then I have to figure out like how I'm going to share it in a way that makes sense, that you'll actually like consider doing and not just waste your time. So glad you're looking into checking, testing them out. It definitely is great that I'm super connected with the moguls in the health and wellness space. Like, they're on my text. I text these people. And then also with the companies, I have direct communication with like CEOs and founders of these companies through text and podcasts and all that cool stuff. So by proxy, you get that too. That didn't happen overnight. All right. So great. You're such a research geek and really dive deep on products and tools. So here's the deal. So on the podcast here, have you ever heard that term, don't cast your pearls before swine? There's no other way for me to say it. So I don't know where each and every one of you listeners are at in your skin and rejuvenation and longevity journey. So I kind of have to do on the show here a little bit more surface level. And I don't always share exactly what I do behind the scenes. However, in a one-on-one, I'll give it to you straight. Give you that customized guidance, what to do at home and in the clinic. Tutorials, you're seeing me do it all, everything I'm doing. And in the membership, these deeper personal development strategies to really lay down the foundation framework of actually how to embody radiance, which is self-mastery across all of these systems. Don't worry, I make it fun. Not like a chore, because when you do all this stuff, you just feel excellent and you look fabulous and you have a better body. Okay, so what else do I want to talk about? So this theme of like harmony across all systems. That's why this radiant stuff was so interesting to me when I started to study it, and these clients I was seeing that just looked fantastic. But how the heck do I teach this stuff, right? And then it came down to me actually learning how to embody it, be like, whoa, that's like superwoman strength. Get these looks all the time. It's hilarious. Sorry, I'm just going to mute you there, Sylvia. It's funny when you kind of bring it all home. You do the foundations, you dial it in, you lock in, you optimize, and then you get that, like, what I would say is like 20% performance enhancement across all systems. Your mind, your cognition, your focus, your nervous system, your movement, your flow, your ability to like make your muscles move and lift something and be balanced and stabilized, have energy and just like feel great and look great. It's all of these systems, harmony across all of these systems. That's why it's never just one thing. We are bio-individual. Okay, so in general, the med spa pillars still hold true. Yes, there's been innovations that I mentioned last year in the laser skin rejuvenation space, but the med spa pillars of skincare, which you can get on my skin shop, and then peels, which you can also get on my skin shop, and some are a little deeper, you can do in the clinic. Injectables like neuromodulators and fillers, those are still kind of pretty tried and true, holding strong. Biostimulators, say for example, Sculptra or Radiance, they still have a time and a place. Lasers, there's the Hyundai of lasers, and then there's the Ferrari of lasers. Which one do you want? And also the practitioner that's going to make that sing, right? It's like going to a mechanic. Some mechanics you take your vehicle to, they're not going to tighten up those clamps around those hoses good enough, and poof, you might have a radiator hose pop off while you're 3 hours in the bush in your Jeep at sunset and it's cold out. That happened to me once. So it does come down to who you go to. Funny off-roading story. It does come down who you go to for your rejuvenation. The med spa pillars still hold true, right? There's lasers that target reds, that target browns, that target collagen and elastin. There's different targets within the skin that different lasers are going to go to. But it comes down to who's actually deploying these things, right? The attention to detail, not taking a cookie cutter approach, but personalizing all your treatments. And I get to do this in the clinic. It's really fun. And then I also get to teach these practices as well, basically to make these technologies and products sing. Okay. And also surgeries. Surgeries definitely still have a place. There haven't been like huge advancements in surgeries like with facelifts and rhinoplasties and eyelid surgeries, Brachistol augmentation and tummy tucks, arm lift, inner thigh lift. There haven't been like huge leaps and bounds in that. With skincare, antioxidants and peptides have been in medical grade skincare since I started in the industry in 2011. So hearing about these new companies that have this peptide serum, antioxidant, it's not new. Medical grade skincare companies have been doing it a long time, okay? Injectables, lasers, surgeries still hold. Those pillars, those are the options that are available to us for rejuvenation. And I'll just be very forthcoming that there's not much to me that's original. The trick is to, when you're considering rejuvenation, to consider from like a skin health perspective and looking healthy, as opposed to trying to look like somebody else with like the lips that enter the Starbucks room, the Starbucks line before the person does. We don't want that, because those lips are going to be beyond the ideal facial ratios and balance, so that your eyes get drawn to, oh, wow, that person has overfilled duck lips, right? We want to be like, oh, that person has beautiful eyes or gorgeous smile. Wow, they're super pretty. Their skin looks really healthy too, actually. Oh, what a great outfit. That's what I want for you. Not to have the lips that enter the Starbucks line before you do. Okay. What about thread lifts for neck and the jawline? I'm so happy that you mentioned this, Sylvia. You get the Keener Engagement Award of this episode. Thread lifts. Okay. So yes, you can get some pretty cool effects from threads. Threads are pretty new still, not super. I mean, I think they started to get popular around like 2017, 2018, 2019, around there. It's a little bit more temporary. Okay, so a thread is inserted with like these little barbs to pull the skin back. Okay, very expensive, but they do work. They provide more of like a short-term lift. Okay, some people are going to say lots of different things about it. Short-term lift, not going to do what surgery is going to do. It's also not going to do what, say, fillers, biostimulators, or neuromodulators are going to do, but it is a tool in the toolkit. Okay. So all these different things, right? Skincare, lasers, injectable surgeries, they are structural or like skin enhancement visible shifts. Okay, that's still great. I love it. I love helping people look better and feel better. But now the inner biology is joining the conversation at the same level. So we're seeing this intersection. I started to see this more in like 2018. People just like, I really just want to look healthy. I don't want to be that lady that my lips enter the Starbucks line before I do. I just want to look natural. I want to look healthy. I want to look vibrant. The med spa stuff can really be good at targeting collagen and elastin, redness, pigmentation, fine lines, wrinkles, pore size, acne scarring. Really good at that. And then the surgeries as well. But the conversation now is how can we get better results with that faster recovery and maybe even delay the need for a facelift until much later, or even maybe avoid it because of addressing the function of the skin, which comes from taking a multifactorial cellular and metabolic approach, and nervous system and, emotional wellness and emotional intelligence, social intelligence, all those things, nervous system mastery, keeping your vibe high, all those things. But so this inner biology joining the conversation at the same level is so cool. Like this is what 2025 part 2 synopsis is. So future facing, the med spa of 2030 is not just topical or procedural. It's integrative cellular rejuvenation. Some of these things, yeah, you're going to do at home with some of the things I mentioned, like collagen, greens, adaptogens, creatine, protein, water, lifting heavy, doing things that make you have fun. Nervous system mastery, humming, cold plunging, all those things are what you have to do at home. Okay, you can't just show up to a practitioner once a month and be like, make me look beautiful. If you're smoking cigarettes and you're eating McDonald's, it doesn't work. Okay, I'm sure you know that, but you can't do that. And I've seen this over the years of, people who come to see me every 3 months for their neuromodulators. They're not looking after their skin with skincare and sunscreen. They're not doing lasers. They're just doing neuromodulators, say for lines between the brows. And their aging process, like no matter how much neuromodulator I put in there, if there's even just like the slightest crinkle of the skin's going to collapse because the skin is so thin. So all these things work in tandem to get the best results. So let's bring it home. Okay. The radiance feedback loop, as I like to call it in the membership. System, supplement, technology, radiance. System, supplement, technology, radiance. Signs it's working. Faster recovery and more energy. Skin glow and firmness. Balanced hormones. Improved sleep. More consistency in mood and focus. You literally just feel happier. Surprise, because your body has what it needs to function beautifully. And others start noticing. Social feedback reinforces your consistency. Perfection doesn't exist. This is definitely all bio-individualistic. So testing instead of guessing what you're eating, what your genes have to say about kind of lifestyle things, which I alluded to, but just being consistent. And this biohacker kind of mindset is, I think, really advantageous because it's like, okay, I've done this, this works, I have a better sleep score. Okay, I've done this, this works, I can lift heavier. Okay, I've done this, this works, I don't have DOMs like 2 days after leg day. Okay, this works, I am more cool, calm, and collected. Okay, tried this, this works, my skin looks better. It's very much multifactorial. It's going to be individual for where you're at, but lay the foundations first before jumping to those bright, shiny object syndromes. I would like to do a little question here with all of you who are here live, and everyone stayed here live. Gosh, we're at an hour and a half. This is a gosh darn long podcast. I'm going to need to take some adaptogens after this. Go to the gym. Okay. Very exciting times we're living in. Very cool for me as a med spa practitioner and speaker in this space of like, oh, now I have the difficult task of knowing all about these things and bringing it all home in a 20-minute presentation. Do you think I can do it? Hour and a half. Warm up. I can do it. Okay, so I want to ask you all, more coffee with mushrooms. No, I'm not going to go over, so I just kind of poured from my French press. I'm not going to go over my 2 cups of coffee. I mean, it's 1 o'clock now. I usually will have my 2 cups of coffee earlier in the day. Definitely don't do caffeine after this. I forgot it because my beauty sleep is so important to me. But I'd love to open it up in the chat here. Where are you excelling in these? Like, these are all the foundations now. Like, oh my gosh, I hope you're taking notes. Where are you strongest in the different things that I mentioned? What are you doing really well? Where could you improve? Some of the different things I've mentioned, you're like, oh, I'm not quite doing that yet. No, I'm not doing the, 1 to 1.5 grams of protein per pound of body weight. I'm not getting that 2.5 liters of water a day. I'm not getting that 3 to 5 grams of protein or creatine. I'm not getting the greens. I'm not getting the collagen. Like, it's okay. I don't expect you to be doing all these things. Like, this takes time to begin to employ. It might be like one new thing a month. But just acknowledge the things that you're already doing. I mean, you're already here live on this podcast recording, being engaged, asking questions, laughing along the way. Like, I fully hope that some of you have listened to this episode and you've been out in public somewhere and you just start bursting out laughing. And people are going to look at you like, that's actually going to be feedback. If your vibe just got elevated, that you're a little bit more radiant when people give you this look. Or like you kind of like lock eyes with someone, they're like, it's so funny. It's hilarious. It's like they just don't quite know how to categorize you. I love playing with this stuff from a social intelligence engagement perspective. Tamara, hey, beautiful Tamara. I'm doing the best with my skincare and Organifi products. You might be using some skincare that was recommended to you by your, secret best friend in your back pocket after a one-on-one and being in tutorials and tuning into the show here. That's Tamara. She is showing up, doing the work. Tamara is so beautiful. For those of you who, she's like one of my star clients, as well as Michelle and many others. Okay. But Tamara, actually, when we were doing a live podcast recording a couple months ago, she was like, yeah, I'll come on and I'll talk about skincare and things like that and my experience. She came on, gorgeous woman. And, she started to rock the grays, which we consider highlights from God. And she's just beautiful. She's regal. She's radiant. She's a mother. She's a wife. She's gorgeous, right? And so she's doing the work, and this is how it all looks. You have great relationships. You're a clear, steady, concise, nurturing mother. You're crushing it in the workspace. You're living your purpose. You're doing your philanthropic work. You're crushing it in your gym sessions, hitting those PRs, getting that dream body of your life that you might not have even had in your 20s or 30s. Well, maybe not, but it's up to you to decide. And yes, so good job, Tamara. You're doing the best with your skincare and Organifi products. I think that's fantastic. Like, you don't have to do in-clinic rejuvenation. Doing the home care stuff first with your skincare, your supplementation, the biohacking essentially stuff. And you might be really happy with that, and that might work with your budget and lifestyle. However, if you're doing those things, you're like, oh, that redness, pigmentation, I want to get some more collagen. I want to take care of some of these fine lines, wrinkles. Sure, there's some in-clinic stuff. But the thing is that there's also a lot of gimmicks in the rejuvenation med spa world, like a lot of gimmicks. And one of the questions that was actually asked here before I started recording was on micro-coring. This started to get popular not too long ago. It's basically this like needle with a channel in it that like takes a chunk of your skin out. So it's like a column of injury and then takes a chunk of your skin out to then get the skin to heal and close that tiny hole. Very interesting. I don't think it's going to go anywhere anytime fast because lasers are better at that, at creating a column of injury with a specific wavelength to target, say, water, to heat up the skin to stimulate collagen and elastin, and then you just get really good resurfacing and fast recovery. Microcoring, I think, is a total gimmick. Dermal rolling, on the other hand, at home is such a great way to stimulate that collagen and elastin ongoing. And I teach those tutorials, not here on YouTube, but in my seasonal tutorials at theschoolofradiance.com. All right, any final questions? Oh my gosh, this was such a long episode. You guys just rattle me right up. I need a nap. Instead of taking a nap, you know what I do? I just go to the gym. It literally energizes me. I feel better if I go to the gym, even though I just want to like lay down. Sometimes I lay down as like a rest, like around lunch break or something like that. But at the end of the day, I do really like going to the gym. I just find it energizes me for the rest of the evening. And then I bring my appetite for dinner. Boy, do I have a big appetite. Okay, Sylvia, hello. Been working on these things for a while. Posture, exercise, skincare, hair DNA testing, food stress management, lifestyle, breath work, eye vision, meditation, taking time to figure out what's next. Yeah, love it. In the membership, I give you the step-by-step strategy on how to deploy things and what with the different systems are good things to focus on, and actually like practically how to lay it out so that you embody this radiant stuff. So, I mean, the podcast is good because I tell you like what you need to do, and then in the different ways that I can support you and you pay me for, I teach you like how to do it. It's very typical. So one-on-one tutorials membership. So the membership is kind of like embodying all this stuff, which has been a feat in and of itself to learn how to teach. I've had to experiment and play around with things and see like, okay, does this work? Does this work? How do I teach this? So like the radiant stuff is a very interesting concept, and it continues to just go deeper and deeper and deeper with me as a teacher of this stuff, because like nobody's teaching radiance. And it's like the holy grail of beauty and vitality and performance and optimization and longevity. It's like, that's radiance. That's what it is. Like, you look great because you're doing all these gorgeous things. And the magnetism and the aura and the attractiveness and all that fun stuff. So that's kind of my angle. That's like my shtick, right? How can we look good? How can we feel good? If I can do it, you can do it too. All right. That's a wrap. I need to take some adaptogens. Maybe some carbohydrates, like some honey. Maybe I'll put a little spoonful of honey because we do need some carbs. Okay, we do need some carbs. So rice, honey, dates. Dates actually don't spike your blood sugars. And if you have your carbohydrates with protein and then walk afterwards, you're not going to get a blood sugar spike. Fun fact, little bonus tip. Love you all so much. Super proud of you. You're all like keener. Literally every single one of you stayed on this entire time. And I hope that I made you laugh at like the most interesting moment when you're listening to this, when you're out in the world. Carol says, thank you, Rachel. Oh, you're welcome, Carol. Lovely to see you here. Sylvia, loved it. You're awesome as always. Just did some honey. There you go. Love it. Woman who takes action. There you go. There you go. Good job. Sylvia will need skincare and anti-aging help for sure. For those of you who are current one-on-one clients of mine, book your 30-minute follow-up with me. Go to your email, type in your email, consultation follow-up. You're going to see that 30-minute follow-up link. I want to keep in touch with you and keep you dialed in and give you some updates behind the scenes here. If you're new here and we have not yet had the pleasure of meeting, check out the description of this episode to book your one-on-one. And if before you book a one-on-one, because yes, there's an investment for that. I'm not just going to spend 90 minutes with every stranger under the sun for free. Okay, there's a lot of information in my brain that's taking a lot of time and money to learn. But if you want to do a meet and greet, like a 15-minute Radiance kind of check-in, I'll kind of direct you on which offerings I have that can serve you based on where you're at. Book that 15 minutes complimentary, exclusive to the community here in the description below. But typically the flow is stay tuned into the podcast, laugh a lot, learn a lot, and then book the one-on-one. Join my seasonal skincare tutorials. So one-on-one for customized guidance, what to do at home and in the clinic, ongoing support, tutorials, how to actually apply your skincare products, your makeup, walking you through basic to advanced layers, peels, retinols, scrubs, dermal rolling, biohacking, which rejuvenation is best to do in the season that we're in. That's why they're always seasonal and live. And you can rewatch those at your convenience, join live if you can, or catch the replays. They're fun. And then the membership is like, how do you become a king or queen? Simply put, how to embody this radiant stuff, because it's a pretty deep, more personal development kind of topic. Getting to that mastery level. Not for everybody, but if you want better relationships and to do better in your professional life, your philanthropic life, save time and money in the process with that angle of looking great, dialing in and embodying radiance, being your most magnetic version, having this like gorgeous aura to you, it's peace, calm, mastering all of these systems, I make it fun and I make it very dialed in with very high level things that I do behind the scenes that I do not share, that I do publicly for a number of different reasons. Love you all so much. Be sure to share, subscribe, share this episode with a friend or family member if you want to make them laugh. Be like, hey, check out this Rachel person. She's kind of funny. She knows what's up. And I'm super excited to see you again here on the School of Radiance podcast and to help you save time and money in this process, in this quest of both looking and feeling our best. I'm here for it. I know you are too. I'm ready to work out and have some carbohydrates now. Love you. Bye.